Final score, Wrexham 4, Aldershot 1. And it was as good as the scoreline suggested. Wrexham, absolutely outstanding. Completely dominant. We've had concerns this season about our inability to get past that first goal in home games, our inability to put teams to bed. And, well, let's hope that was an indication that the problem is solved, not least because we've got a similar game coming up on Tuesday. Wrexham started off with Tom O'Connor absent through injury, which I must admit before the game I felt a little bothered by. It didn't matter in the end, I suppose. I hope it's not too serious, having said that. The other changes, McFadden coming back in for Bryce Hosanna as they tried to bring him back up to full fitness, and Paul Mullen, of course, returning from suspension, and he made quite the splash. And Wrexham just, well, the opening stages were absolutely fascinating and I thought very gratifying. Aldershot came with a very clear game plan. It was a sort of parking the bus, but, slightly outside the parking space. They they didn't challenge us at all. Oh, I beg your pardon. They committed their front three to press in Wrexham's half, and they did it fairly well considering they were a bit detached from the rest of the team. They blocked passing channels fairly well, and Wrexham had to be very patient. But then the midfield and defence lived in Aldershot's half, but the defence, this is why I'm trying to make this bus analogy, didn't drop deep. They tried to fight to avoid it. They stayed outside the penalty area. So they really congested midfield, very similar to what Wrexham did when we were 2-0 up at Chesterfield, in fact, and did very well. Beg your pardon. I got to say that once we managed to get past them, you could see why Aldershot didn't want to defend the penalty area, because they didn't defend it terribly well. But it was very gratifying, like I said, that Wrexham really moved the ball around patiently and intelligently. We kept switching from side to side, probing and working our way through it. We were patient. It took us about 9 minutes to start carving chances out, and once we did, we couldn't stop. So, first opportunity came with Palmer feeding the ball down the right side to Mullen. He swept her over to the far post, and Jordan Davis should have scored, really. 6 yards out, free header, couldn't get on top of it, put it off target. But straight away, Wrexham were at Aldershot again. And Palmer, again, dropping deep, finding Davis running past him. And he popped it off to Mullen, who was one-on-one with the keeper. Brilliant move, this. And the goalkeeper, Barnes, did extremely well as Mullen hit it across him to get his foot out and block it. But a lovely, incisive move, and it was really nice to see this. When you consider some of the stodgy stuff Wrexham had played earlier this season at home, to see Palmer, Davis and Mullen just slicing through a side. Chances kept coming. Young had a corner on the left-hand side, swept it in to the 6-yard box where a defender took a wild swing at it and sliced it just wide off the far post, very close to an own goal. And then another fine move came when McFadden fed Davis down the left-hand side. He swung in the ball to the far post. Mullen pulled it back to the edge of the box. James Jones with a powerful shot from the edge of the area, which went just wide of the left post, with Palmer, who'd been involved earlier in the move, rushing in, lunging, and just inches short of converting it into an empty net from a couple of yards out. Halfway through the half, it was hard to understand how Aldershot was still intact, because Wrexham really were savaging them. Max Cleworth had a fabulous strike from about 30 yards. You've seen that goal he scored in the FA Trophy. This was further out. He smashed it, and Barnes had to tip it over the bar. But the breakthrough came just after Aldershot had started to show that they had a bit of threat with the ball. Aldershot had a good 5-minute spell where they dominated possession, where they came forwards, and the front three look a little lightweight, but also lively. And they started to just ask a few questions of Wrexham. They put a couple of corners into the box as well, which were awkward deliveries. And it just began to wonder whether we were going to regret not scoring when we were so dominant. But then we scored 10 minutes before the break. Again, a really nice move. Aaron Hayden breaking forwards like Cleworth does, but it's all set up differently, of course, on that flank. And so, whereas when McFadden and Cleworth combine down the left, they tend to exchange passes. Hall Johnson used them as decoy. Hayden ran beyond him and wide, dragged the men outside, and then Hall Johnson cut onto his left foot, ran into the space that Hayden had created, played a beautifully weighted assist for Paul Mullen running in the right channel. It was an absolute replica of the situation he'd been in 20 minutes earlier when the keeper had made a good save, and Mullen went for the same finish, and this time he got it right and nailed it, and Paul Mullen had put us ahead and marked his return from suspension. We should have been 2 up at the break, really. Well, I beg your pardon. We could have been 2 up at the break after, in added time, Palmer turned nicely and pulled it back to Jordan Davis, who from 25 yards out hit an absolute screamer, even by his standards. It was whistling through the air and went just wide of the top left corner. Fabulous hit, and, just like Mullen's first goal, a warning of what was to come. Because 5 minutes into the second half, terrific quick thinking by James Jones. Luke Young had been fouled by Mo Silla, who was a looming figure in the middle of the pitch, who decreased in effectiveness. Silla, on this occasion, really foolishly just giving a free kick away, shoving Luke Young down. Not a lot of laughs for Aldershot Silla on this occasion. Boy, did I struggle to set that one up. And James Jones was brilliant. He ran up quickly, took a quick free kick to feed Davis, and Davis, from pretty much the same spot, hit pretty much the same shot as he'd done at the end of the first half, and this one went in the top corner. Oh my word, what a goal. Glorious strike. Game over at that point. Aldershot certainly didn't have 2 goals in them, and after that Wrexham dominated, and whenever they carved out chances, they seemed to go in as well. McFadden, with an excellent break down the left-hand side, cut into the box and laid it on a plate for Palmer, who side-footed the ball home to make it 3-0. And then in the 68th minute, again, really good work by James Jones, who chased across the pitch in the Aldershot half, hassling a midfielder until he turned into trouble in the shape of Paul Mullen. Mullen took the ball off him and then decided to hit it from outside the D, went for a curler into the bottom right corner, and Barnes, who, to be fair, repelled Wrexham all day, made a bit of a hash of it, lunged Lowdown to his left, got his hands to it, but the ball squirted through them and into the net, and Mullen had his second goal, which he celebrated rather embarrassingly, I think, having seen the keeper make a hash of it. Wrexham were happy to slow things down. We started to make changes. We swapped out both wing backs and gave Hosanna and McAlinden a run. Ponticelli replaced Palmer while Mullen looked for his hat-trick. And the game wound down. We had a couple more chances, good chances, though. Another repeat chance. McFadden getting around the back of the box and pulling it back for Palmer, and he hit it, and it was a superb block in front of the goal. And then I did time. Again, James Jones sweeping the ball in from the right-hand side, and Davis unmarked 6 yards out. And this one was an easier chance than the first one, and he misjudged it and headed it wide. He is furious. Deadly from 25 yards, not great from 5. In the added time, Aldershot actually managed to get themselves, well, that's laughingly called a consolation, but I don't know if I'd go along with that, to be honest. I don't think there's much consolation for the battering they had. They managed to put a bit of pressure on. They put one good corner in, which caused issues, and then from the corner that resulted from that, it was swept in, and Lyons Foster, attacking it in the near post, flicked it on. It was flicked on by Giles. Who scored that goal? It was the sub, wasn't it? Yeah. Giles Phillips flicked it on, and Lyons Foster from close range poked the ball home in the 93rd minute. But it was the only thing that did was deny Rob Lainton a very easy clean sheet, and you can imagine how angry he must be about that. Looking through the performances, Lainton had nothing to do. Couldn't be faulted on the goal. Didn't have a save to make. At the back, Cleworth really caught the eye. He battled and defended well and broke forwards really well. Tozer was imperious as ever. The back three, I'm getting repetitive strain injury, but saying the same thing about them. Hayden won some great challenges. That burst forwards for the goal was nice, just to create the space. Yeah, they were really solid and in control. The wing backs, McFadden again, hasn't got 90 minutes in him yet, and I assume again he'll be rotated out on Tuesday, but he's a good player. He gets forwards well, he delivers into good areas, defensively he looks perfectly sound. On the right, Hall Johnson enjoyed himself, had his customary very sparky first half hour as well, and yeah, so again, probably pretty much what we expect of them, but at a very good quality. The midfields were excellent, they ran the show. Young was energetic and terrific and kept things moving and kept passing in a positive manner and was everywhere. Davis was my man of the match. I thought he was terrific the way he kept driving forwards and creating, and scored a screamer. But hats off to James Jones, who, you know, coming back into the team, having been even not even on the bench in the last couple of matches, did really well. Again, he's a different type of player. He doesn't catch the eye with fancy stuff he does, but his work rate was terrific. He got an assist for the Davis goal through to his quick thinking. He deserved an assist for the second Mullen goal because he was the man who forced the error that allowed Mullen to shoot. And his energy was terrific. I forgot to say, at the end, that chance that Davis headed wide, Jones, in added time, having worked extremely hard, was in the centre of the pitch and went on a real sort of turbo-boosted run from the centre out round the outside of Bryce Susanna so he could get into a crossing position and stuck it on Davis's head. I think that's a good indication of the stamina that guy's got. So I was very impressed with Jones. And up front, yeah, Palmer was class. Held the ball up well, ran at people well. Got to see a bit more of his passing game today than we have done in previous matches, and it was good to see. And Mullen, yeah, well, ironically, he was trying things all the time, and they didn't always come off, but he got the 2 goals, and he did very well with them, and was unlucky. The save by Barnes was a good save when he was 1-on-1 in the first half. So, yeah, good stuff. Macklin looked lively when he came on. Bryce Susanna likewise. Ponticelli worked hard. And a good time was had by all if you were supporting Wrexham. Brilliant stuff from Wrexham. And an impressive win, which takes up to 4th place. We go on now and must look to replicate that on Tuesday against Kings Lynn. With a final score of Wrexham at 4, Aldershot Town 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.